Originally, when the Black Lives Matter movement started, I fell for the divisive nature of the issue and picked a side. With the networks pushing their different angles on the events that were happening between blacks and police officers, there was a lot to digest in a short amount of time. It only takes a fraction of a second to label raw sensory data with a mental image. And then after the first moment of perception, we are relating to this mental image and not the reality of what has actually happened. What is happening is we are projecting our own personal meaning onto an external event. This meaning could be derived from our past experiences, from our current mental state, or just from the nature of the event that we are observing. It is quite rare for anyone to perceive the true meaning of an event upon first glance without further exploration. Anyone who makes a snap judgment without gathering more information is making an error and not allowing for further investigation and possibly making a long-term decision that could be avoided with a little restraint and reflection. After all, how likely is it we are able to make a responsible decision or form a reliable opinion when emotions are running high? I have been able to come to a more informed decision without disregarding my feelings, but simply withholding judgment until I am able to analyze all sides of the story. I now see not only the anguish of the families and friends, not to mention all blacks, but also law enforcement side of the argument. It is quite clear to me, and I believe all people, that all lives do matter. Yet it has become habit and possibly human nature to pick a side when these issues arise, especially in this political climate. In my younger years, there were two ways in which my encounters with law enforcement unfolded. Once I was in the wrong, yet responded appropriately to their questions and was allowed to continue on my way. Another time I was in the right, responded inappropriately, and was violently beaten, bloodied, and taken into custody. I was lucky I wasn't shot. It was after this second encounter that I came to the conclusion that it was in my best interest to comport myself in a certain way when interacting with the law. Just the other day I was taking my morning jog and an officer pulled up to the sidewalk and waved me over. I found myself becoming nervous as when I was younger and doing things I wasn't necessarily supposed to be doing. But this time I felt at ease. Despite my resentment for authority, I did still prepare myself for the encounter, remembering the beating I had received years earlier. The officer simply let me know there was a missing person in the area, and if I saw this person, to call 911. It was an African-American child who had wandered off, and his parents were worried sick about him. The look on the officer's face was one of sincere concern. He just happened to be white. By being in the right mindset when confronted with an authority figure, I was able to not only come through the encounter unscathed, but I was able to be helpful. And although we know there are bad apples, there are plenty of good cops out here that are doing their jobs not based on the color of skin, but because they actually care. Now, as for seeing someone killed when being questioned or detained, this is very unsettling for any of us to see, and it can conjure feelings of anger. And we are all confounded by the images we see at times on the news and social media. With everyone having a camera on their phone now, we are seeing things we have never seen before, much more frequently. And until we learn to use these images more responsibly, we will be exposed to traumatic material. Next time you're going to watch a video that may contain graphic images, please think twice about the inaccurate meanings you may ascribe to the situation when your emotions are unchecked. And if you do watch the video, remember to reserve judgment. After all, who am I to judge? Most of us have never dealt with the legal system. The ones that have know that it is not about truth. Our current system of law is about constructing and construing the best legal argument based on the statutes and interpretations of it in order to reach a desired verdict or outcome. It is definitely flawed, but it's only flawed because of the people who enforce it. But we can protect our life and our freedom if we take these things into account and make a more informed decision on how to act when confronted with authority. If I am not doing the right thing, I have no argument. But if I am innocent and allow the system to go through the process, educated and informed as to how to protect my rights, you will find that the system does work if you work it. I know. I won an appeal and was released from prison after spending 3 years for a wrongful conviction. It was traumatic. But the lessons I learned getting an up-close and personal view of the inner workings of how our system works opened my eyes and taught me, you get what you give. My statement alone put me away. If I would have stayed calm and put my ego aside, I would have never been convicted. So I urge you to give your best. And though things may not seem good at times, keep the vision you seek in your mind. And believe me, it will come to pass. Paul J. Meyer said, "Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically art upon, must inevitably come to pass." You can check his website out at pauljmeyer.com. That's Meyer. Thank you and have a great day.